The free city of Greyhawk, the jewel of the Flaneas, a city of high culture and low life. From grand towers to dark slums, this metropolitan city is a hub of intrigue, danger, and adventure. A city of thieves and corrupt politicians. Those who can thrive here can make their fortune and establish their reputation. This week, I take a look at the 1989 release from TSR, the City of Greyhawk box set, coming right up on RPG Retro Reviews. Hello everyone, I'm Captain Courageous and I review old school modules and games and try to give them a fun and informative analysis. This week I'm taking the cover off the City of Greyhawk box set released from TSR in 1989. But before I begin, I would like to take a few moments to thank Dark Wizard Games for sponsoring this video.
Now from Dark Wizard Games, Maximum Mayhem has been unleashed, returning once more to wreak havoc and destruction. Old school adventures designed in the classic style, with outrageous villains, deadly encounters, and wicked dungeons. Re-edited and ready to be reprinted once again, this collection of Maximum Mayhem is ready to bring maximum fun to your gaming table. Imprisoned in the dungeon of the Vampire Queen, can your party escape her devious traps, vicious monsters, and horrific surprises to find your freedom? Can you escape the hanging coffins of the Vampire Queen? Now with a new centerfold by Carlos Castillo. Next, the local villages have been hearing whispers of mysterious happenings around an ancient volcano. Something evil lurks within, an evil that fell from the stars long ago. Can you uncover the secret machines of the star spawn? Then danger lurks at every corner of the coastal city of Los Far Point. People abducted in the night, but for what sinister purpose? Dare you face the villains of the Undercity, with new cover art by Carlos Castillo. As your heroic reputation grows, you are summoned to the halls of the Dwarven King. Within his smoky mountain, goblins have unleashed the terror from the depths. Test your blade steel and the fury of your spells in the vault of the Dwarven King. Visit the beautiful lakeside realm of Thorinvale. There, an evil dragon has slain the king and imprisoned a beautiful princess. But perhaps all is not as it seems? Dare you face the Dragon Malfesto in Palace of the Dragon Princess. Face your greatest challenge yet, as hordes of metal monsters raid local villages and towns. The source of this mayhem stems from an ancient ruin now in control of the Mad Master. His dungeon rotates and twists, altering his labyrinth of peril at every turn. You'll need more than muscle and a healthy dose of wits if you expect to survive the moving maze of the Mad Master. Finally, discover a swamp of lost treasures populated by smugglers, criminals, and other ne'er-do-wells. However, something even more sinister awaits you, lurking in the darkness of the bogs. Trust no one, sharpen your blade and gather your courage as you enter the dread Swamp of the Banshee. As if all of this were not enough, also included is the Monsters of Mayhem. Horror, humor, and wickedness await you in this bestiary of 48 new monsters to terrorize your players. Monsters of Mayhem #1 has a new centerfold by Carlos Castillo and newly added art from Jeff D. New to the collection is the Shadow of the Necromancer adventure. Face the undead as they emerge from the crypts and uncover an ancient evil. Now for both the 5th edition of the world's greatest role-playing game and Osric, the old school reference and index compilation. All of the modules are compatible with virtually any old school rule set, but has been written specifically for Osric. Every module is printed on high quality paper, large typesetting, making them easy to read. Map and artwork by the best artists and cartographers in the RPG industry, and includes some art from legendary artist Jeff D. All of this and an optional add-on storage box for the set. What are you waiting for? Isn't it time your players experienced Maximum Mayhem? Link to the Kickstarter is in the description.
All right, let's take the cover off this box and see what's inside. We have 4 poster maps, 2 96-page setting booklets, and 23 adventure cards. Looking at the maps, we have a very nice artistic poster of the city itself, suitable for framing and hanging on your game room's wall. Definitely very cool. There's also a very nice map showing the terrain and areas of interest surrounding the city. Then, of course, a detailed map of the city itself. And finally, an underground map of the city's sewer system that also reveals several secret passages and locations, such as those of the city's Thieves Guild. Very handy. One thing I really love about this set is the adventure cards. These are basically 2-page adventures that you can run on the fly or introduce anytime. Some take place in the crypts, others in the city's outskirts. There's plenty here to keep players busy for many game sessions, and of course, these can easily be the seeds for adventures of your own design. If you are a sandbox DM, this kind of thing is just super handy. There's also a card that has a summary of all the monster statistics in these adventures. This is all very well thought out. There are 2 setting booklets, Greyhawk, Gem of the Fleneas, and Greyhawk, Folk, Feuds, and Factions. So, let's go ahead and take a look at the Gem of the Fleneas book first. Also, as a side note, if you get the PDF off of DriveThruRPG, the table of contents is hot linked. So you click on a chapter heading and it will go right to that page. Anyway, Chapter 1 is the Gem of the Fleneas. This is a nice overview of the box set, explaining the adventure cards and how to use them, some historical detail on the city, its climate, information on the city's banking system, the city's security and defenses, a brief overview of the city's religious factions, and the city's scholarly aspects and its reputation as a hub for adventure. Chapter 2 is a DM's guide to the city, basically suggestions for running a sandbox-style campaign. There is a lot of advice on story structure as well, villains, foreshadowing, mysteries, and so forth. Great advice for a newbie dungeon master, but certainly experienced DMs might find some of this useful, if only as a handy reminder of elements they haven't used for a while. I know that I like to read this sort of material as it sometimes just sparks an idea for an adventure in my mind. There's also some information on character backgrounds for those player characters who might be from the city, such as the character's parentage. Are they wealthy nobles or are they abandoned orphans? There are the requisite random tables, which are totally optional, of course. The player could just choose, or, if they're feeling daring, let random chance decide. Given the character is from the city, there's information on what kinds of contacts they might have, then a table for starting money, and now they are ready to begin their life of adventure within the city's walls. I really like this level of detail. Chapter 3 details the territory immediately surrounding the city, locations such as the Karen Hills, which includes the type of flora and fauna that can be found, as well as wandering monsters. There are lots of adventure seeds here, various crypts, details on the Gnome Warren, with keyed maps. Here you'll find the Castle of the Wizard Tensor, the mining towns of Blackstone, Steaming Spring and Diamond Lake, and more. There is the Mist Marsh, which shares the same level of detail as the Karen Hills. There's a Harpy's Lair, and Lizardman's Lair, Quicksand, and other dangers. Other prominent locations are Woolly Bay, the Gnarly Forest, the Selatan River, and others too numerous to mention. Chapter 4 lists and details even more locations outside the city walls, and then moves into the city's interior. The walls themselves, the gates, and the city's defenses are described. Chapter 5 is the Grand Citadel, which is part of the Old City and is among the oldest in construction. It serves as a prison and the quarters of the City Watch, and its offices. Here's also is the city's arsenal in the event of an invasion. Of course, a map is provided for the Citadel, and each number location is gone over in detail. Then the rest of the book covers other city sections. The High Quarter, Markets and Gardens, Clerksburg, which houses the city's learning center, the Artisans Quarter, the Foreign Quarter, the River Quarter, the Old City, and the Undercity. Every chapter offers innumerable adventure seeds, NPCs, and interesting locales to visit. These chapters bring the city to life and provide a backdrop for thrilling fantasy adventures that could go on for years. Before we get into the second book, I'd like to ask you to check out my Teespring store, Ye Old School Shop. There you can get some cool gaming swag, t-shirts, carry bags, coffee mugs, and more with original art by James V. West and Phil Stone. Right now, till the end of August, get 10% off your purchases. Just enter the discount code GAMEON10 at checkout. A link to the store is in the description. The second campaign book included is Greyhawk, Folks, Feuds, and Factions, which now delves into what daily life in the city is like. The first chapter of this book, Economics, gives a fairly straightforward overview of Greyhawk's pivotal positions within the lands of the Flaneas, its importance as a port city, its coinage, and those that are in power. Greyhawk is ruled by 16 oligarchs of supposed equal power, one of which is selected to be the Lord Mayor, though the number on the council can vary from as little as 12 to as many as 18. The chapter then goes on to name and detail each of these council members. As you can see from this list provided here, the oligarchs are well-placed members of the various guilds or hold high ranks in the priesthood of the various religious orders of the city. The Lord Mayor, Neroth Gaskell, is actually the assistant guildmaster of thieves. Chapter 2 goes into depth on the city's military and the law. The City Watch, its captain, General Sental Norev, and other high-ranking members are given statistics and detailed backgrounds. Next is the Code of Law. Various crimes and their punishments are given. How a dungeon master can adjudicate magic use in the city, taxes, and the limit on what weapons can be openly carried within the city are provided. Daggers, darts, slings, staves, clubs, and knives are permitted. Other heavier weapons require a permit and a license to be acquired. Only the City Watch is allowed to openly carry pole arms such as halberds and pikes. The head of the Greyhawk Revenue Service, or GRS, Gladreddy Buchanan, is a corrupt official, a dwarf of skill and mental acumen. He is prone to taking bribes and is quite likely to run afoul with adventurers at some point or the other. Magic casting in the city carries many prohibitions for obvious reasons, with a few exceptions such as healing spells, for example. Profiles for a variety of City Watch and Night Watchmen are given, composition of units, and it's clear that some clever thought has been given here. For example, the Night Watch consists of darkmen, usually gnomes with infravision. Given the proximity of the Cron Hills, creating units of night vision capable squads is a good tactic for maintaining order at night within the city's walls. Chapter 3, Mages and Priesthood, details the Guild of Wizardry, the legendary Circle of Eight, and the Major Priests of Greyhawk. Chapter 4, The Guilds of Greyhawk, provides an extensive amount of background information on the city's many guilds and their function. It's quite likely that the services of any one of these guilds could crop up in an adventure. There are many instances where a party of adventurers might require the services of a guild, or the party might possibly provide assistance to a guild, for example, selling rare herbs to the Guild of Apothecaries and Herbalists. Chapter 5, Lowlife, delves into the city's Thieves Guild, Assassins Guild, and the Beggars Union. An exploration of the city's sewers is provided, as well as crypts and graves of the city. Problems with grave robbing and those who might carry out such evil deeds are detailed, immediately suggesting any number of associated adventures. Finally, the cult of the Shriven Sickle, worshippers of the evil god Nerol, the god of death and dissolution, is detailed. The location of the cult, its plots and goals, and the NPCs running the thing are given. Once again, quite a few adventures and plot hooks will suggest themselves to a creative DM upon reading this section. In Chapter 6, Entertainment in Greyhawk provides detail on such things as the Grand Theater, the Royal Opera House, the Wheel of Gold, essentially a casino, the Green Dragon Inn, and more. Explore the culture of the city. Of course, the many NPCs that run these establishments and the fun that can be had visiting these locations can provide many sessions of enjoyable role-playing as well as being the starting point for adventures and the seeds of plots within the city. Festivals within the city are given. Such celebrations and holidays give character to a setting such as this. The city of Greyhawk observes the Holy Day of Pelor, Guild Days, which provides artisans the opportunity to display their craftsmanship. There's Brewfest, a 7-day period in which many shops and inns celebrate the harvest and brewery. Needfest and the Feast of Fools is another 7-day celebration in midwinter, an opportunity to call the dull days of winter with feasting and merrymaking. Finally, there is the Desportium of Magic that is held on the last night of Growfest. Great crowds gather near the Grand Citadel to watch magical duels of illusion. The chapter concludes with a look at the gladiatorial arena and games which take place in a building called the Pit, located in the Foreign Quarter. Chapter 7, It Takes All Kinds, explores the many kinds of NPCs adventurers might encounter within the city. This includes complete adventuring parties such as the Fellowship of the Torch, which can serve as either rivals or allies. The book concludes with Chapter 8, Adventures. 4 are provided: Tears of the Orphanage, King of the Rats, Dark Justice, and the Heart of Al-Rakim. There are the 23 adventure cards. These are essentially 2-page mini site-based adventures, and their locales are in the city itself and the surrounding area. All of them are pretty good and can provide a session of adventure on the fly. Absolutely brilliant if you love sandbox play, and for me is a highlight of this box set. I'll be honest, I purchased this box set about 2 years ago and got a pretty good price on it. I didn't pay more than $40, which is absolutely a bargain. Prices on eBay vary greatly, as you can see here, but a complete, in good shape box is going to be very expensive these days, unfortunately. I'm not overly impressed with the PDFs from Drive-Thru RPG. They are not terrible, but the scans are a bit light. You can print out the adventure sheets easily enough, though. You get a PDF of the maps broken up into page sections, a PDF of the adventure sheets, and then a PDF for each of the 2 campaign booklets for $9.99, or both the PDFs and a print version in a combined booklet for just $19.99, which is a sale price. It's regularly $27.99. Somehow this box set escaped me when it was originally released, and I don't know how, but I find myself pleasingly surprised by the quality of it. The interior art is by Valerie Valusic, who I'm mainly familiar with for her work on Volo's Guide to Waterdeep, but she was quite active during this period in TSR's history, producing many illustrations for Dragon Magazine, cover art for several Dragonlance novels, and innumerable other supplements. Her illustrations are really great in a supplement like this, as she's very good at capturing snapshots of daily life within the city. The cartography here is functional, but not spectacular, and the cover art by Eric Olson is also functional, but not overly appealing to me, which might be why I initially passed on this when I saw it on the shelves back in the late 80s. Anyway, let's go ahead and take a look at the City of Greyhawk box set on my D20 scale of style, presentation, and value. The style here is late 80s and early 90s TSR, as Valerie Valusic's art is a standout as always, capturing snapshots of daily life within the city. Cartography is useful, but not overly done. For many, this will be a plus. Elaborate maps really only provide eye candy for the DM anyway. This is a bit text-dense, however. The prose here is interesting to read and rarely boring. Editing and editorial credit is given to Mike Brial and Kim Moen, and the production here is pretty tight, but still I'm not a fan of those TSR 3-column text walls, which can sometimes be a bit of a chore to get through and isn't ideal for trying to find specific pieces of information during a play session. I'll rate this a 16. The presentation is straightforward enough. As I said, the prose here frequently makes for an enjoyable read, and the character of the city definitely comes through. I am a big fan of the 2-page adventure sheets. There is enough material here to provide adventure seeds for years, and that's not counting all the adventure seeds in the campaign booklets themselves. This city is alive and vibrant. Adventure lurks around every corner, from dark alleyways to vibrant fest halls. the free city of Greyhawk thrives with intrigue and danger. Also, if you were interested in running a Westmarch style campaign right out of the box, this thing has everything you need, from NPCs to locales to innumerable site-based exploration adventures. This box set is made for the long-form campaign, and it's expected that your players will stay here for a very long time. One big plus here is if you are working with the PDFs, they are hot-linked with the chapters, and the chapter bookmarks are very well done. This is a searchable document, so that can overcome the text wall density issue when it comes to locating a specific topic, city, locale, or NPC. If you're using analog, in essence books, you might want to have some highlighters and post-it notes handy for easy reference later, as this does not have an index, which, as you all know, immediately causes a loss of 2 points on my rating, which brings it down from an 18 to a 16. Finally, let's talk value. My rating reflects the PDF's print on demand from Drive-Thru RPG. Unless you're a collector, it's really hard to justify spending $150 or more. The PDFs are not Drive-Thru RPG's best work as far as scans go, but they are bookmarked and linked very well. I do not own the print on demand for this book, but there are reviews on the website for the POD, and they indicate the print copy is very well done. If you're looking for a complete, easy-to-use setting with tons of adventure hooks to last for years, a city with character that you want to stay in for a while, you really can't go wrong here. I'll rate this a 19. And that brings my overall rating for the City of Greyhawk box set to a 17. Very good. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you found this review useful and enjoyable. I'd like to take the time to thank all my patrons who make this channel what it is and these videos possible. Thank you so much. Next week, I'll be taking a look at the Frozen Horror, a major expansion for Avalon Hill's updated Hero Quest game. Please give this video a like, comment, and share. Please check out my Teespring store for great gaming swag, t-shirts, carry bags, coffee cups, and more. Right now, the store is running a 10% off sale to the end of August. Enter GameOn10 at checkout to receive your discount. Join the channel's Facebook page, RPG Retro Reviews, and consider supporting the channel by becoming a patron yourself, or alternatively, you can just send a tip through the PayPal tip jar. Links are in the description, and as always, my friends, may your D20 roll true, and game on.